Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the dailyblu.com. Coming up right now in A Ship Called Relation, we are talking about the top 5 things all couples must talk about before it's too late. And then later in the show, our favorite game is back, Sink or Swim. This story is from a woman who says that her husband is just now getting suspicious of her late nights. And on top of it, her boyfriend wants to go home with her, but how is that going to happen? We'll discuss all of that plus much more right now on A Ship Called Relation. There, I'm Jason Galka, and welcome back to A Ship Called Relation. Today's show, we are talking about the top 5 things that all couples must talk about before it's too late and before tying the knot. And then later on, we're going to get into our Sink or Swim. We have another great story. I'm very excited about that. So good morning, ladies. How are we?
Morning. Good.
Yay.
Morning.
It's Wednesday. It's hump day, so energy levels are up. Brittany, I have to start with you because, as you know, 2 weeks ago, we talked about you moving in with your hottie with a body boyfriend, Evan. How is that going?
It's going good. I was just telling you for the show, I swear you're living next door to me because my neighbor keeps me up till like 1 in the morning on the phone, but he has the same voice as you. And
Okay, I keep our neighbors up for other reasons.
And I almost walked over to see if it was you, but it's not, I guess.
But we do live pretty close, though. We're only like
do.
2 towns away, so you never know where it might turn up.
But it's been good. He's been, hanging stuff on the walls.
Watching
doing
him
manly
work.
things.
Oh my God, I love it. Are you recording it so you can show me?
I forgot, but I have more curtain rods to be hung. So.
Excellent, yes.
Finding things to do. Yeah.
So now, when we talked about pet peeves last week, I mean, are you developing more with him now that you're actually living with him?
Not yet.
Not yet. Give it
Well,
time.
he didn't make me lunch the other day, so that bothered me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
No lunch.
I asked for it.
It's over. What are you doing?
Deal breaker.
Done. But no, nothing yet. It's been good. I mean, it's only been, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah.
It's very new.
It's still the honeymoon phase.
So, yeah, talk to me in like 3 weeks.
So that actually leads into what we're going to talk about. We're talking about the 5 top things that all couples should talk about, as I said. So what was the first thing the two of you had to talk about prior to making this commitment together?
To moving in?
Yeah.
Well, we had to talk about if there was going to be like a future, like where we saw each other in like 5 years or less, because I don't want to wait till I'm 30-something to get married, and I wanted to make sure he was on the same page as me, so that way we wouldn't move in together and then be living together for like 6 years without any kind of, plans for the future.
Right.
So that was a big thing.
Important one, too.
Yeah, I think that's really the only thing that was really important to me. And, knowing that he was going to be motivated and work and make me lunch.
Didn't make you lunch.
Fail so far.
That's okay. You're still hot. I've met him. Trust me. Take my word for it.
He is hot.
So, Kelly, prior to moving in with Rob, what was the number one thing that you guys had to discuss first?
We never we never really had like a talk. It just we were one of those couples that from like our second date we pretty much hung out 24/7, and
yeah. See, I always did that too.
It never really was like a do you want to move in? It was just like it just happened.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I always say that my story with John.
It's eventually like, okay, yeah, you're living here, and it's like, okay, so now I can say that. And
John and I are like a true Hollywood story because we moved in together like 2 weeks after knowing each other. Like we moved fast, and then 2 months later we got engaged, and 2 years later here we are. Everything happens in twos, I guess. But it's like it's crazy how like half of the stuff that we're going to talk about, the top 5 things, I didn't even do any of them. So it's so bizarre. But Desiree, what's one thing that you always have to make sure you discuss with a boyfriend prior to moving to the next step?
If I like them more than a week or not. No, I mean, I've never lived with my boyfriend, so I don't know. But I know, like, for me, I would just need to know where it's going, if we're on the same page, and if we are going to live together, I need to know that you know, you can take care of the house if, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to know if they're neat too.
Yeah,
I don't like a messy person. I laid that law down right away before we moved in. I was like, your room might be messy now, but you have a walk-in closet now.
Oh, he's
so
going to be on
your mess-
probation plenty
I
of
mean,
times.
even if you just throw it all in the closet,
Yeah,
as long as you
I
don't see it, like.
Yeah, I don't care. If I don't see it, I don't care. But
Cool. Well,
Minus.
now the actual top 5 answers that what every couple really needs to talk about before it's too late and tying the knot. The first one, shockingly, is actually credit and outstanding debt, which kind of sort of makes sense because if you're going to go sign that lease, you kind of need to know
right.
if you're going to be able to get that lease or not. You know, because they do
That's
major credit
important.
checks. That is a big one.
I remember asking him how his credit was, and he didn't know. And I was like, what? He still doesn't know, actually.
Really? Well, you know, I don't think it's important to know the credit score exactly, but if you just know what outstanding debt you
You need
have.
to know where you
Yeah.
stand.
Yeah,
relatively.
then you can kind of figure out, like if you have too many credit card debts and a car payment, very rarely you're going to get anything else at that moment.
Yeah.
And those free credit report things, I mean, I guess they're good, but I always feel like there's a gimmick to them. So, and I feel people get scammed because you'll go on to it and then it'll be like, oh, well, you need to buy this and that,
Yeah.
and then it's not so free
Yeah.
anymore. So really, you just have to know where you stand with what you have out there already. Number 2 is actually children, which I was a little surprised because most of the
that's-
time
yeah.
people talk about having a family one day.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, I
that's
think that's
I
a
think
good
that's
thing to know.
Major.
If you're talking to someone and you're a person who sees a family in your future, there's people who don't see that, and it's definitely a deal breaker for a lot of people.
We actually had that on the show a few times. I remember over the summer, we had the woman that wrote in that she loves her boyfriend. He has 2 boys of his
Right.
own.
And
She
he
wants to
doesn't.
have a child, but he doesn't anymore. So that's kind of like a deal breaker. I mean, it might be
Definitely.
okay for now, but it's going to turn disastrous later.
Right.
It always does.
Yeah.
And even the amount of kids you want to have. Like, you can have a guy that's like, I want 1, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then the woman wants 5, you know?
Yeah. So that's
You
kind
gotta
of
be able to
important
That's
to
you
talk
will
about.
compromise,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I would think that would be actually number 1, but that actually came in on number 2. Pretty interesting. Number 3 is bank accounts and bill sharing. Are you okay with sharing a bank account with Evan now that you live together?
No.
No? Why is that? Curiosity, strictly curiosity.
I'm just not ready for that yet. I don't think it's necessary. My money's my money still, and his money's his money still.
Wait, you got that wrong. Your money's your money, and his money is your
my
money
money.
too. Okay, that's how it works here.
Yeah, I don't think when you're living together necessarily you
That's
have
more
to.
like a marriage. When you
Yeah.
become like
Yeah.
one complete unit with kids, like then it's probably
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. I've shared a bill before with an ex-boyfriend, and I got totally thrown under the bus on that one. So
Wow.
I'm not ready to do that again.
Okay.
Not that I think Evan would ever do that to me, but I'm just not ready.
It's definitely more of a marriage thing, I think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I mean, I know my one friend has a joint like savings account with her boyfriend where they each transfer money into it, so then they're using it to like save for like a vacation and stuff. Like stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's a
I
little-
don't
that's-
see.
that's a
You
little
know, it's
different.
not like he has direct access to your like checking
Right.
account, and you're still playing it safe and both your names on the account. So
That's
Yeah.
major
Like-
trust too, because if you
That
each
is.
have a
Oh,
card to that
absolutely.
bank account, men are more impulse buyers.
Yeah.
Whereas we're more like, let's save, let's really think about.
the
Remember the
opposite.
$3,000 vacation
Wait,
I got
I'm so
called with
confused
yesterday?
by what you just said.
We're more.
Well, we tend to be more responsible unless there's a great sale going on someplace, and then we impulse. But like last week when John's like, "Oh, let's take this $3,000 vacation." Well, let's hold on a minute and see. Is everything else going to be
make a
paid in
chart
that
here.
time
That's
frame?
definitely
Exactly.
Pros and cons.
But of course, I went out and bought myself a new suit last week.
But the vacation can wait.
The vacation can wait. Okay, number 4 is actually intimacy. And we're not talking about the traditional type of intimacy. The question is, are you okay with spending your life with one person? Can you sleep with that person? I mean, of course, there's always cheating. We get that all the time on this show, but we don't condone that.
Of course, there's always
Yeah.
cheating.
it's not the yeah.
But the
always the
proper way to
option.
carry out a relationship is to be with that one person. And are you okay with that?
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
you should be.
there's people who can't. They don't
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
in monogamy or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's definitely important, I guess, to talk about that. I never really thought about having to talk about that,
yeah.
I feel like if you're saying I'm in a
but
relationship, it's kind of
exactly,
a given.
that's
Like,
what you're saying.
we're kind
so.
of promising that we're just gonna stay
I mean,
between you and I.
if you
Yeah.
think that you or your boyfriend is going to bring home another person, you're going to walk into that, then you should probably talk about it before you make
Well,
the commitment.
absolutely. That's actually a
to
big
share a
discussion because I do know people where they added a little sugar and spice and it made everything nice. So you never know.
You
Stick
never
with the
know.
one for now that you feel like you're connected to, you can always discuss those options later.
Yeah.
And the fifth one is career. Is your significant other okay with what you do for a living?
Me? Or am I?
Well, I'm asking
okay
in
with what-
general.
In general, yeah.
That's
Like
a-
for me, the
that's
biggest
a
thing when I met
sensitive
John
one.
was we would be out at a restaurant, and by that time my show was already on the air and everything, my Jason show, and people would, just come by and say, "Oh, I saw your show," or "I like what you did," or whatever, and it kind of annoyed him in some ways because he's like, here he's trying to get to know me, and people are
everyone's
just
around
stopping
you.
by to. I mean, I love it because I'm a big ham, but he was like, this is kind of annoying. But then
Yeah.
I guess it grew on him, and
Yeah, you just gotta get used to it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it also ties into finances because if you're a person who's changing their career and wants to make this like start up or try to do something, and the other person has to be able to support you
Right.
in doing that. And
support's a big thing in a relationship, especially when it comes to career, because obviously, John and I have different career paths. I'm here on camera, and he, manages a hotel, so it's completely two different things.
Yeah.
And but it's interesting though, and there's actually a sixth one which I just found interesting. I want to throw it out there because I'm so on the fence about this one. It's TV in the bedroom, yay or nay?
I have quite an opinion on
Freddie,
this.
you first.
oh well, who knew?
Wait,
I had no idea you felt so serious.
I do feel serious about this. Okay, so I have a TV in my bedroom, but I don't really watch it. It's just there because I have roommates, so maybe they're watching TV downstairs. But when I was in college for my whole senior year, I didn't have a TV in my bedroom. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
awesome.
this is my thing. Like,
It's
John works a lot of overnights being in the hotel business because the scheduling is so crazy. So a lot of times I'm sleeping by myself and I'll have it on because it's just noise that I can fall asleep to. But yet when he's home and we're sleeping together, I refuse to let him put it on.
yeah.
Like it annoys me and I can't fall asleep. I don't know what it
can't fall
is. It's
asleep
weird
to
for
it.
me.
I think that you sleep better without a TV in your room. There's so much less distraction, and I think it's really important that when you have someone that you're sharing a room with, that you have that intimate time together and not be distracted by a TV. I mean, just try it for a week or two. I mean, I did it for almost a whole year, and it was great. I
Yeah.
loved it.
We actually just got one, which is funny, but I don't know. We try not to use it, but we also live with his brother, and he has his girlfriend, and sometimes they're watching a movie, or sometimes you just want to be by
I was gonna
yourself.
say,
and
it might be different if you're completely
yeah,
alone.
Yeah.
and it's nice to just have it as an option to go into another room, but we rarely use it, and it's, we don't leave it on or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
the only time it goes on is if I'm home by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't hang out in my bedroom when I have the whole rest of the house, but
It's funny because I never really thought of it as an issue.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
that
actually
would
one of
be
the. It's one of the top 6, really,
Yeah.
but I chose the top 5. But that one was just interesting to me
It is
because I am
interesting.
so like 50-50 on it. Like I
Yeah.
love it and then
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It's weird for me.
I mean, you can, what's the word I'm looking for? I just had
Balance.
Find a balance.
Yeah, I
No.
saw you do this. I figured
Yeah,
that.
I know.
Compromise.
Compromise. Yeah.
You could compromise and maybe just put basic cable or something in the bedroom, or just maybe a DVD player, and kind of
Yeah.
don't even put
That's a
cable
good
in the
idea.
bedroom.
So if you guys want to lay and watch a movie together, but it's
Yeah.
not like he's watching sports till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
and you're like, can we talk for 5
Well, I
minutes?
think for me, like, I'm kind of a big baby. Like, I never really slept alone in a place before. Like, when, I lived at home, my mother was in the next room. And then when I moved out on my own, I always moved in with a boyfriend. So I never really slept alone, truthfully.
Scary.
So it was
No,
scary.
it's-
So I figured if I just have a little noise, if I hear something, oh, it's the TV.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that peace of mind for me.
Yeah, I like that too.
So,
Yeah.
but that's how I feel about it. So, it's very important now to be following me on social media. We're going to move on now to my little Twitter chatter that I have going on. And every week I post a casting or an audience poll where you could sound off. So, definitely follow me on Facebook and Twitter. This week's Twitter chatter is I asked men and women if their significant other is entitled to know their social media passwords. Now, this is something that came up on a relationship website that I was really interested in knowing. And shockingly, 72% of men say yes, where 28% of men say no, they are not entitled to know it. How do we feel about that?
It's
I mean,
That's a tough one.
yeah, I mean, I don't really see a reason for them to know it. It seems kind of like they're paranoid or something, but If Evan asked me what my password was because he needed to do something, then
Yeah.
I would give it to him. But
I
there's
agree.
really no reason to have it. I have nothing to hide.
So you're not
But-
demanding, oh, give me your password.
Yeah, I don't
There
think
should be no
there
reason
should
to
be
have
no
no
reason for
check-in.
someone to be demanding for it,
Right.
and there should be no reason for someone to not give it to someone if they need
Yeah,
it. Like,
right.
it's,
But
I
why would
agree.
you need it anyway?
yeah, if
It was
you had it for
interesting.
security purposes, whatever. But if someone asked, then
Yeah, I mean, I found it interesting because, as we know, like we talked about this in our cheating segment, that
Yeah.
social media is like the breeding ground for cheating.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's interesting. 72% say yes, and 28% say no. The top explanation for men that say why they would give their significant other password is written by Charles DeFranco, who says, "I think it's great to share that info. It also shows trust." Whereas Bill Hernandez commented, "No," and said both parties are entitled to certain privacies. Sean Spaulding of that same audience poll also voted no and said if someone is demanding private information and using that as an argument, they have control issues. I kind of
like I
agree
said,
with
if
all
you're
that. I can
demanding
see
it.
both.
Yeah.
I can
It's
see
like
both
having
sides.
a password on your phone. Like, there's no real reason for anyone to be going through your phone. But
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, can I make a phone call? No, you can't know my password. Then it's like a red
Yeah,
flag.
if
Yeah.
you're like, hold on,
Yeah.
let
Then
me
it
put
be-
it in for you, and then you give it to them, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, that's how John and I discovered. We didn't say, give me your passwords, give me your passwords. It's like, well, my phone's not working at the moment. Let me use yours. What's
Yeah.
the passcode? Okay, here it
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah.
then same thing with social media
And then you
sites.
trust that they're not snooping through your phone when you're not looking. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a double trust.